Hello and welcome to Youth in Sports, where every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. we feature special guests from near and far. The program is sponsored by ATI Physical Therapy, providing certified athletic trainers to more than 30 area high schools and colleges. First State Orthopedics, the team taking care of Delaware with a commitment to excellence. And Wilmington University, where Youth in Sports is produced by the College of Technology's students and faculty. And now, from the studio at President Jack Barcelona's Wilmington University, your hosts for Youth in Sports, AOSSM Mr. Sports Medicine 2012, Dr. Michael Axe, UD and St. Elizabeth's own Dr. Joseph Strait, and co-founder of Youth in Sports, Mr. Walter Laudine.
Good evening and welcome to Youth in Sports. 22 years, and here we are at beautiful Wilmington University, which is now a university officially, and got a great show tonight. Joe Strait, our other co-host, is in Pittsburgh with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I hope he does some good cheering for them today. Mike?
Yeah, Michael Axe from First State Orthopedics, and we have the United Way on, and why I asked the folks to be on tonight is the myths that people may have had about the United Way. They've had some ups and downs, they've had some national things, and we're going to talk to them about some questions about how is national different than local, where does our money go, what is it, how is it spent, how do they decide, and why should we give to the United Way as opposed to giving to an individual cause? I think you'll enjoy the answers. It's a lot of food for thought, and we're going to have fun with this.
We're going to have fun?
We're going to have fun. Yeah.
Well, let's introduce our guests. First, we have John Moore, who's Vice President of Research Development and Strategic Partnerships. Next, Debbie Armstrong, who's Assistant Director of Community Relations. And next to them is Jerry Hunter, who's the Vice President of Operations and the Chief Financial Officer, which is the guy we want to go right after. But before we get to Jerry, let's go to John first. John has a son at Caesar Rodney.
That's right.
Is a senior, John?
He's a senior shooting guard, second team all-conference in Henel Open last year. It was about 16.6, and we're expecting a big year this year. Get a scholarship, and please help me to be able to pay for college.
And you know, John, the fact that you say that is, when you look at what colleges cost today, it's like you might as well, you know, parents get so much money today, they finally get their kid out of the house, but now they got to dip into their savings and their IRAs to pay for college.
Well, hopefully they had planned for that, Walter, that they knew that, you know, the Gerber baby commercial is probably the best one that I've seen. When the family's there and said, my child is 3, I've begun to save. Well, it's important that you begin to save. You can't count on the grandparents dying and leaving you money so that you can pay for your kid to go to school.
And I'm a grandparent now, and you know, don't count on me.
Well, I got that part, and some of us have been thinking about this for a long time. And fortunately, we put enough money aside that even through professional school, and for those of you out there that your parents left you debt-free after your education, you should thank your lucky stars. That's the best Christmas present that keeps on giving that I've ever seen. And for those of you who haven't, I feel for you. And I understand that scholarships are everything. Having been a scholarship athlete myself, my tuition, room, and board was more than my mother netted that year when I was at Bucknell. So I totally understand the importance of having someone give you the opportunity to succeed. Now, if you get the opportunity to succeed, don't waste it. And I'll offer that to absolutely everyone. If you're fortunate enough to earn a scholarship, then take advantage of the opportunity, because a missed opportunity is just that, Walter, a missed opportunity.
Well, talk about keep on giving. We want to talk to Jerry Hunter about giving. And Mike asked the question before, which is a good question.
Before we came on set.
Well, no, when you were on, you asked why should we give to United Way as opposed to giving to an organization that we know about?
Or we think we know about it.
Well, we think we know
John,
about it.
you didn't have the benefit of having the preamble. Well, you just kind of walked on set because of parking at Wilmington University. For those of you that are guests, we have cones set aside for the guests. They are for you. You just move the cone and pull right in. That's what they're all about. So don't be a cone head. Use the cones.
Guilty as charged.
All right, but get back to you, Jerry. You know, we have that issue, and one of the hard questions tonight that people ask us all the time is why should we give the United Way? And I'm going to pose it just a little differently. Is there anyone out there that matches funding? In other words, you know, I understand if a company says, okay, if my employees give to $5,000, I'll match up to $5,000. How many of those challenges are within organizations that would make you want to earmark your money? Because you get the double dip. Because I can say I wanted to go to the Boys and Girls Clubs, not of Delaware, Greater Newark, Frame. I have to identify which Boys and Girls Club I wanted to go to, okay, just so you know out there. But should I identify that, okay, why would I, if I work for AstraZeneca, I'm going to assume that AstraZeneca or DuPont has a matching, who has matching employee up to stuff out there?
There's several corporations.
Who's the best? Who matches the largest sum of money?
Who?
Burris, 1-for-1.
Burris, 1-for-1.
Burris, 1-for-1.
Debbie would know more of this. She's in campaign.
Well, that's cool. Burris, thank you, Burris people.
Yes, absolutely.
They are here in Newcastle, and they're also right across the line in Elkton, and then down in Harrington and Milford. And they match $1 for dollar for every employee gift.
Do they give you an upper limit, up to?
No.
No upper ceiling?
Well, how many employees they have?
They are regional. They have approximately 1,700 employees, you know, in their business.
Oh, okay. So that's
Walter, anyone who doesn't give an upper ceiling is a brave soul.
yeah.
It's a brave soul. Okay, so you have Burris as 1-for-1. How about DuPont? How are they?
DuPont's a corporate gift. It's not a match, and they pretty much direct it to United Way and allow us to use it as we see fit.
Okay, so it's undefined.
Correct.
So why don't you define the type of gifts that you get during the campaign? Our goal, John had shared with me, and he wanted you to verify it, that our goal this year is $8.5 million.
18.
I misspoke. 18.5.
Correct.
Okay, million.
From,
and that was
from
what,
the campaign, that's correct.
From the well, is there another?
We have other resources. We actually have, since we've actually started doing strategic initiatives, we now apply for grants through various foundations and have several for our Stand By Me program. Our Stand By Me program, for the most part right now, is funded all through grants.
Why don't you tell the listening audience or the viewing audience what Stand By Me program is?
Stand By Me is basically a financial stability program. Anybody in the state of Delaware can basically access it. It's now currently in several workplaces up and down the state. It's in state of Delaware service centers where people that need the help from a financial perspective, whether it be food stamps, etc., can see a coach. It's one of the only coaching models where we have a financial coach that will actually sit down with the client. They'll talk to them about what their goals are from a financial perspective. Some of it's just getting their credit worked out and corrected. Some of it is, I've got a large loan, might be a payday loan that they're trying to get situated and squared away. Some of it's just a household budget. Some of it's paying off a utility bill that for whatever reason got extended, and we work with Delmarva to help make that happen.
Well, that's probably a good thing since your CFO is.
That's kind of my program.
Yeah, and you're chairman of the board is Delmarva.
Yes,
okay, so that would make sense.
Right, we're pretty well.
How many people take advantage of it?
Today we have 2,500 clients. The program's about 2 years old. We expect that over the next year to grow it by 2,500 to get to 5,000. That's our target.
How are you giving yourself a report card? The number of participants, or how do you give yourself a success grade?
Our success rate is the client sets the goal, and if they meet their goal, that's a success.
Sure is.
So, and what we look at is we look at every client as being creative, resourceful, and whole. Treat them as, like they know what they're doing, and in some cases, they know what their problems are better than we do.
Sure.
So we listen, establish the goals, and help them achieve.
Now, the money that you're using the resources for, all the Delaware money stay in Delaware?
In the Stand By Me program, yes.
Okay, how about the rest of the campaign? The $18.5 million is the Delaware goal, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
But you have some companies that go through an entire area, like DuPont has many, 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 many sites.
Right.
We know we're the corporate headquarters because of tax reasons for a lot of companies that don't have a plant here but have their home offices here. Mm-hmm. Do we get credit for those companies that have their home? Is it based upon where the home office is?
It's where funds are raised is what we get credit for. So if the funds are raised in Delaware and they stay in Delaware, we get credit under United Way's worldwide standards for
So the
counting that as revenue.
18.5 he's talking about,
Yes.
John's talking about,
Yes.
stays in Delaware.
Yes. for
Because
the
you're
most
raising
part.
it in Delaware.
For the most part, yes.
And who decides who gets the money? Your board,
Well-
or is it national?
It depends. Our campaign's split. It's split between what I'd call United Way funds, where the funds actually are controlled. There are funds we can use we can use them as we see fit. Then there's donor designated. Dr. Axe, you indicated that you give to the Boys and Girls Club. So
No, I actually give through the United Way to the Boys and Girls Club,
Right.
but the question was, why is that a good thing for everyone? And what I asked it particularly was, do you get the double dip? In other words, do you get matching funds?
Correct.
In other words, it doesn't matter to my company how I give the money, because we don't match that per se.
Right.
But it does for the companies that match United Way, and yet they still give you the opportunity to designate to the Boys and Girls Club, the club itself. We have well over 40, so which of those 40 clubs do you want your money to go to? And then we go from there. So let's talk about, and as I shared with your staff earlier, well, did you know we get a great viewing audience till 8 and then people turn us off and watch other shows? Did you know that?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So what I want to do is hit the highlights, assuming that they'll watch this on DVD and so forth later.
Well, we're on the internet, so you
Yeah,
can watch
that's
on the
true.
internet.
You can watch it on the internet. But so myth number one was that the money that we raise in Delaware, that you have to tithe like the Catholic Church does so much to the Vatican. Do you have to give a portion of it to national?
That's part of our $2.3 million budget, so it's part of our operating cost. So there is a fee that we basically have to pay as part of our operating cost.
Okay, so that's
part of
that's a
that
truth, not a
10.5%.
myth then. Okay,
That's the
there is-
truth. We have a member fee that we pay to United Way Worldwide, yes, for using the logo, the advertising that they do nationally that we benefit from. So yeah, there is a fee for that. And we use some resources out of Alexandria periodically for doing some assessments around community impact work and things of that nature.
Not fussing, just want to make it
Understand.
clear out there. The second one, and we're going to go to a break in a minute, that if you have a designated amount that you'll put toward a particular cause, you vetted it out, you have decided that this organization, as you rate them, is worthy of a proportionment of the monies that you raise. In our next segment, it's going to take a while. I think that's an important thing that everyone would like to hear.
Okay.
How that vetting process is done.
Okay.
Okay, and how I want people to understand how fair it is, because I know that after I heard about it, it certainly was much fairer than I thought it was going to be. The biases aren't quite there as it had been told to me by those people who felt that they didn't quite benefit
Right.
as much from it. But you can't spend that, we have a lot of money, tobacco dollars, that we have spent at least 4 times, so not surprisingly, they're not there to be spent again. We're going to go to a break and come back with United Way right after this.
I will keep dancing on point, even if it hurts.
My arm is killing me. I don't know if I can pitch another ball. But I'll just play through the pain anyway.
I have to do the big stunts. To look better than the other cheerleaders, our tosses are bigger.
My elbow really aches, but I've got to keep practicing.
Don't tell them it hurts. They'll take you out of the game if you do. I have to push harder if I'm going to get a scholarship. I'm feeling dizzy, but I don't want to tell anyone.
Everyone's counting on me. I can't rest now.
Nearly 50% of all sports injuries sustained by middle and high school students are from overuse. Don't play through the pain. See your healthcare provider and follow their instructions for rest and recovery. Take the pledge. Become an advocate for sports safety. Visit stopsportsinjuries.org.
Hi, we're back on Youth in Sports. We're talking the United Way, and I was just talking to John Moore, who's the Vice President, Research Development. Resource Development and Strategic Planning. And John, you were talking about the churches. My question to you, like, I mean, if you give money to the church, which I don't, but if you give money to the church...
Water doesn't give money to anyone.
No. No.
That's not true, by the way.
Well, yeah, that's not true. It's not,
true. I'm just kidding.
Not in a religious sense.
That's
But if you give money to the church, if I was giving money to the church, I would think the money was going to the church.
It is.
And they, in turn, are giving it to you?
No.
So tell me how that works.
We have 3 key things that we ask people to do: give, advocate, and volunteer.
Okay.
If I can explain this very quickly.
Go ahead.
United Way is not your grandfather's United Way anymore. We used to be a transactional organization where everyone was so focused on fundraising. But what we are now is a relationship. We call it building strategic partnerships as part of my title. And so you say, well, where does the church come in with that? I'll give you an example. One of our key pillars, we have 3 key pillars: education, income, and health. We envision a Delaware where every student enters into school ready to learn. It takes investment, but it also takes relationships to make sure that our kids are doing that. We envision a Delaware where every adolescent is able to make good choices so that they can stay in school, graduate on time, and that leads to a good life.
Right.
We envision a Delaware where every individual and family becomes financially stable, and we envision a Delaware where everyone has access to health care. So you look at that, and you look at the relationships of organizations outside of businesses that can help do that. And one of the great ones is the faith community. You know, there's one area that we have to have absolutely in making a community stronger is trust. And when working, for instance, in the area of education, in order for us to be able to find some of those things that are missing that the schools is not able to find, is that we be able to talk to faith leaders to be able to get their perspective. Because if a parent's not talking to a principal or to a superintendent, they're talking to the pastor. Why not bring the pastor and the superintendent together and have a collective conversation? And that way we're able to find solutions that may be operating in silos you never would. And so that's the work of what we're doing up and down the state. It's when we start talking about the partner agencies, Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, it's working collectively against these root problems of what's really hurting Delaware in many ways. So now what we're starting to do is see great solutions come through what we call our community impact work, and that is addressing issues through these programs that Jerry Hunter talked about, like Stand By Me.
Well put, John. My question to you is, as a devil's disciple here, is what about all the religions? Now we're having a problem where, you know, I'm a Buddhist or I'm a this and that. Do you fundamentally go to all the religions?
No, they have a common denominator.
Yeah, but watch this. This is how these partnerships work. I've been appointed by Governor Jack Markell to serve on the Delaware Coalition of Faith-Based Partnerships. And it is a faith-based partnerships.
All right.
And it is a group of non-denominational interfaith organizations. We have Muslim, Jewish, Baptist, Catholic, everyone that you can think.
Okay.
And what it is that regardless of the religion, the human need problem is consistent. And so we're coming together and we're talking about what we can do to get solutions. What does it take? It does take money, but it also takes a common mindset to be able to come up with answers.
I can just see the atheists suing you for a part of that dollar.
Well, the fact of the matter is the atheist needs health care as well.
There you go. There you go. No, that was interesting, John, and well put. Now, Deborah, you work in conjunction with John?
Yes, I'm on John's team at United Way of Delaware in resource development.
And you were talking about the AFL-CIO, the union.
Well, she was part of they had the golf outing that Dr. Straight played in a couple weeks ago.
Dr. Straight plays golf?
Yeah, he'll take your money.
Yeah?
Yeah, he can play.
Okay. So you went to the unions and you try to get groups as a whole to...
Okay. Through the AFL-CIO Community Service Partnership with the United Way of Delaware, traditionally we go to businesses that have union labor and go out and run their workplace campaigns. Tom Callahan is the executive director of the AFL-CIO Community Services, and in that program I work under him. But my other work out of Kent County, I work directly under John Moore. But in short, it's no matter whether it's a union or non-union account, I'm out there for United Way raising dollars for programs that we can invest here in Delaware in the community.
Now, John, you said before Jerry got here, you were talking about $18 million that you want to raise.
18.5.
18.5. Okay. In the last 6 years, the financial situation for just about everybody is just really bang. I read in one of the newspapers that raising money for charity was down a lot. If 18.5 is your goal for this year, what was it in the past years as comparison?
Well,
has it gone up or down, or
Let me give you an example. In 2002, we reached our peak. We were about $30 million.
There you go.
And
okay.
that was actually during the time when MBNA was active.
Right.
We had a tremendous campaign with them. Well, then things happened beyond the recession. Businesses left Delaware, mergers took place, and so therefore, organizations that were given a tremendous amount to the causes of what we're representing were going away. Then came the recession. And what happened was, the amazing thing that really happened with that is, now the face of the donor changed. Those persons that used to give to United Way now became the person who needed those services.
There you go.
And so immediately a person that would give now has
right.
got their hands out asking for help, which they deservingly should get, because they've been given for years. Now we need to turn around and be able to help those who are losing their homes, who can't pay for health insurance, and so forth. And so, yeah, we've been tremendously impacted by that, but yet still at about $18.5 to $19 million, we're working feverishly with the people who work in our organization to be passionate about still driving people to want to give. Because we can't see organizations that are not capable of doing their own research development close their doors, because they're doing some tremendous work in their communities. So we work very hard.
So let's go one step further. How do you determine the merits of an organization? So that you have everything from the Boys and Girls Club, I'm going to keep coming back to because that's my favorite, okay, to Latin American Center,
Yes.
to probably 100 different organizations. So how do they get a scorecard?
Well, we use two things. We look at the quality of work of what they're doing, and we look at the need. So, for instance, you want to be able to help a community, but you want to make sure that it's based on a need. So let's say that you want to help an organization that believes in running clean water, when you're actually in a community that there's nothing wrong with the water. So why would we put focus there? But you're in a community where violence is just escalating, where kids are dropping out of school, where people are not able to get health care. That's a need. And so what we do is we focus on such things as that to see that this is the kind of organization that needs to be supported because they're addressing a root issue. Here comes the second step, quality. So even though they're addressing a need, are they carrying out their mission according to the way that they've told the United Way, that they're asking people to give money towards? And so we make sure that people are doing that, because I think it goes with Dr. Ack's point. We want to make sure that as people give, it's a tremendous investment. I say myself, we say this at United Way, the giving starts with us. We're not only,
Clients.
Clients, that's that commercial. We're not only clients, we actually believe in the process.
Right.
So the giving starts with us. We have a tremendous campaign internally. Why? Because we believe that we have invested part in making sure that our communities are safer, stronger, healthier. And so you look at the quality of what people are doing. And if people are not good stewards of their money, the United Way, in a sense, is making sure that people are making their investments that they're receiving be maximized. If not, then that makes us a bad steward.
I'm going to make, no, I want to,
Let me turn what you said, good stewardships of their money.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're talking about a great deal of money, and what do you do with that money? Do you give it out? If you're going to raise $18.5 million,
no, that was my point.
are you going to give out
18.5 though?
minus what you cost to?
No, the 18.5 that John's talking about, if you designate, that's money that we can't use to do anything with. I mean, designations, if you designate the Boys and Girls Club, we make a payout to the Boys and Girls
Right
Club
away?
But that still counts toward the 18.5.
Yes, it does.
Right.
Yes, it does.
Okay, I
Absolutely.
wanna
I
make
just
sure
want to
that
make
that
sure that
wasn't-
everybody understands there's the money that we can
let's go through the
influence, and then
process. No,
designations.
because I think
the
I
donor
have,
just,
I think I have this down. So you correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Okay? So, Walter, I decide I'm going to give the United Way $1,000.
Right.
And that $1,000 on my card, I earmark that I want to give it to the Frame Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
Okay? So, at the end of the campaign, and the campaign runs from when to when, John?
It typically runs from,
Now?
let me give it to you. We have a pace setter campaign that starts in July. That's ahead of our normal campaign. The actual campaign starts in September and runs through February,
September,
March.
Labor Day, or September coming right now?
it's the Friday
September now.
after Labor
After
Day. is
Labor
the
Day.
official
Okay, so
kickoff.
we're in the campaign
Yes,
right
we are.
now.
Yes,
and we
we
run
are.
for how long? Till Christmas?
Till January.
Okay, so through Christmas. But they understand that your money's a little short, so probably they want to get your donations in by December 1st, all right? So I put this out, Walter, so I put out $1,000 and I say I'm going to give it to United Way. But there are like all of us that decided that we were going to give to that cause. They have a sum of money. So the United Way will take that sum of money and they'll give it directly to the Frame Boys and Girls Club, independent of anything else, correct?
That's correct.
Now, at the end, there's unspecified monies. So when you look at unspecified monies, how much of the $18.5 million will be unspecified, based upon past track record?
Right. It's about $9 million.
Okay, so half of it. Half of it
50%.
is, we only have 2 minutes because we'll get back to this because this is important. So half of it. Now, you've earmarked, based upon the different organizations, what you feel that their programs will get from that $9 million, correct?
If I could say this real quick,
Please.
Jerry, it's not really us. We have an allocation committee that decides.
Who's that?
Committee of Volunteers.
And are they all bean counters? Are they all, no?
No, they're not. Unfortunately for me, they're not.
Okay.
No,
Bean counters meaning the accountants.
I know
there's
what bean-
lawyers,
okay.
there's, I mean, people from, almost, they represent the community.
Okay.
Some of them are from corporations that volunteer, and some of them are individuals that have done it. Retirees are there.
Okay, so the allocation committee
Yes.
takes your information. Who does the evaluation? You? You then go back and give it to you give them a grade, and then the allocation committee will then decide what the proportionment is?
No, what the allocation committee does is everything's done online for applying for funding
Right.
from our member agencies.
Right.
So their 990s, all the information about the outcomes that they generated from their programs in the prior year, that's all basically put in and assessed. And then what the volunteer does is, depending on the number, we had 36 volunteers this year. So, and we fund 100 programs. So we split up 100 programs. We don't care about the organization. They get an actual look at each program, and then they look at the outcomes on those programs, and they do their own evaluations as to how well.
Well,
they
you know what? We're
performed.
going to be able to keep our viewing audience because they're going to want to know more about this. We're going to go to a break and come back with United Way right after this.
What does opportunity mean to you? At Wilmington University, it means providing a personalized educational experience where students learn anywhere at any time. Wilmington University provides a variety of ways to complete your degree. Choose the flexibility of online learning, or attend classes during the day, in the evening, or on weekends at locations throughout the region. It's your degree. Choose how you earn it. Personalized education, affordable tuition. That's the difference at Wilmington University. What does opportunity mean to you? At Wilmington University, it means finding an innovative degree program that fits your goals and prepares you for a successful career. It means finding a school that fits your life. We know the importance of providing individual attention, affordable tuition, and unparalleled flexibility in service. Because at Wilmington University, it's not about meeting your expectations, it's about exceeding them. Personalized education, affordable tuition, that's the difference at Wilmington University.
Good evening. We're back on Youth in Sports. We're talking the United Way. We're talking about money. We're talking about donations. All good stuff. People should be interested. It's interesting to know how your money that you donate or you say that you want where it goes. We'll see if it goes there. And we're talking to three people from United Way. Jerry Hunter, who's the Vice President of Operations, Chief Financial Officer. Deborah Armstrong, who's Assistant Director of Community Relations. And John Moore, who's the Vice President of Resource Development and Strategic Partnership.
Nice job, Walter.
Thank you. Now, ask your question.
Okay, so we were talking about the scenario was that you give money and you earmark that money and to a cause. And mine would be the Boys and Girls Club, Greater Newark Club. Because I have a weight room in there that I put in years ago, and I want to make sure that it stays in tip-top shape for the seniors that use it during the day and the young people in Brookmont Farm who I want to go to the weight room and not break into cars, because it's a good thing to have things to do. So that's okay. I can earmark that, and even if the Greater Newark Club has all that money will go to the Greater Newark Club.
Correct.
But they still have an opportunity to get even more money that isn't designated.
They do, because Boys and Girls Club is a member agency.
So talk about that. So let's talk about member agencies. How many member agencies do you have?
46.
46. So every year, those 46. But the Boys and Girls Clubs, not all their clubs are member agencies. Only the first 6 are member agencies, as I understand this to be true.
The only thing we fund are programs to the Boys and Girls Club. It's not broken down by all the Boys and Girls Clubs throughout the state.
Well, that's a point worth making. So these member agencies don't get a monies. They get their programs within their...
They get the program funded.
Okay, so
That's
give us
correct.
a for instance.
Well, let's say there's an after-school program
There
at
you
one
go.
of the agencies, okay, and we're funding one of those after-school programs because their outcomes are fairly significant, and it's a high-need, high-quality area that we need idle time being absorbed to something
As
that's...
reflected in what I call JV crime. You break windows and stuff because you're bored.
Exactly.
Okay.
So under that situation, we would look at that particular program, and it's identified within that organization what that program is. And our volunteer would basically have a criteria that basically lists the program, you know, the number of children that were supported by the program, the outcomes that were achieved, which may very well be that we're focused on after-school studies and what the outcomes might be. And then they might come back, like somebody like LACC might come back and say, their grade point average was here when they started, their grade point average during the year continued to improve as a part of the
I just don't want it to go down over the summer.
Well, we fund, with some of our money, we fund summer camps to basically do the same thing.
Okay, so do you have money set aside for after-school programs to be then divided up by whatever your 46 members have, if they have a program like that? Do you earmark it into a pot of, this is for food, this is for finance, this is for after-school dropout program? In other words, do you define the program and then look for your 46 members to have a program within it?
Now, what we've done is, over the course of time, like John said, we identify the programs that we've been funding
Yes.
as either high need, high quality. If they didn't fit into those two categories, then we lopped off those programs. Then what we've done since that is we've started looking at, you know, what's the performance of each one of those programs? In other words, you know, are we getting the outcomes that we need
Per
change?
organization, though. Okay, so you have a program, but some organizations run the program well, and other ones don't run it as well.
Correct.
So it may be the concept is good, it's just the institution of the concept.
Well, it could come down to how the program's being run. Maybe they had a change in program directors, and there's some flux year to year that we're looking at. But we actually do look at the outcomes year to year to year and look at the performance on those programs.
How do you know you got good data on those outcomes? In other
We
words,
test it.
okay. So you get this now. The people submit the outcomes of a particular program. United Way then does an assessment, but they don't believe everything they hear because people can fudge their numbers. They'll actually go out and spot test. If it looks and smells not correct, it's probably not, and they're going to do something about it. They've been in this business a long time. So there's not a bunch of charlatans out there. I know we've had some issues in the past at the national level, but to my knowledge, we haven't had a whole lot of stuff locally, Walter, okay? And it's because they know that you can't hide in Delaware. About the same 400 people wear the hats. They just change them. So we're now to okay, you've decided on the programs that you're going to fund. That's hard. I've met with some of the budget directors in the state, and none of them, they all looked aged after they've been through the process.
Like I say, we're fortunate that our volunteer base, since we've moved to an outcome measurement system, has grown each year. So the more volunteers we get to help with the process, the less taxing it is on each one of the assessors, if you will, that are
Well,
volunteers.
talk to us about the allocation committee, the guys that are behind the green door.
Well, like I
The
say,
Wizards of Oz back there.
they're pretty much people like ourselves that are interested in the community, that some of them have had experience in doing evaluations in the past. Some of them haven't. Some of them have to be trained in the actual evaluation process and the assessment process. And we have a tool that we actually train new volunteers to. So from that perspective, what we do is we pretty much work with them collectively. Our system's online now, so most of our volunteers can go through a web-based system, log on, and actually focus just on, the task at hand. Probably at night after work, they start looking at that information, and then they start doing their individual assessments.
How many allocation people are on that committee? How many?
Like I said, there's 36 volunteers.
36 volunteers
that
this
went
year.
through this process this year.
Okay,
Right.
36. And how many hours will they spend? Will they donate to the cause? Probably 10 or 15 per person, right?
At least. Yeah, when
Okay.
you take into consideration all the meetings that we have, and in some cases we may call the agencies in and ask specific questions, those types of things. So yeah, it could easily be 15 hours apiece.
What input does your national committee have?
None.
None? As opposed to Delaware, they have none. Okay.
Yeah, we're the United Way of Delaware. I mean,
Right. So you're separate, autonomous?
Yes.
We're a legal entity, so pretty much we have a membership to use a lot of the things that United Way has developed over the years, like the logo and things of that nature that we don't have to maintain, which is part of the membership, but they have no real say over what we do from a legal entity perspective. We do have to comply with certain standards that they've put on us from the standpoint of reporting and things of that nature to make sure that it's holistic nationally, and we're following some key rules to protect our branding. But we do that reporting once a year, and it's basically off of our internal assessments that we've done, and it's reporting after the fact at that point in time.
Jerry, are you an accountant?
Yes.
CPA?
Yes.
And if I could say this very quickly.
You can.
This is what this is.
He doesn't say anything real quick.
This is what I know. I'm a Baptist preacher, so you got to excuse me.
You're quick. I like it.
I am.
I like it.
But this is what drives me, Debbie, and my team in resource development so hard, because you made a great point, Dr. Axe. And it becomes very difficult to decide on who and who not. And so we have to raise the resources so that we do not see programs shut down. I mean, it may look like United Way is growing all this money. We grow this money so that we could support these organizations. I'll give you a great example. KSI Industries, Kenton Sussex Industries down in Milford, support people, adults who have handicaps, who want to feel like they're regular people. So they give them employment. They got to be transported. So we support a program through their transportation. Imagine if we're not able to raise the resources to be able to support that program. That many of those persons that are blessed by such a job won't be able to get to work. So that's why we're driven. That's why we're so passionate. We want to be able to help all these organizations that work with education, work with boys and girls, that work with those who are trying to get back on their feet after such a tough economy, and be able to be stable, to make Delaware healthy. And we can't do that unless myself and Debbie is very successful at being able to generate the revenue so we can support the programs we have out there.
Well, the other thing we've tried to do as a New United Way is, we always say, we fundraise, but we've never said, what is the real cost of dealing with a particular issue? So what we've done over time is we've focused, and we've done this collectively with the state of Delaware. We've kind of identified 8 needs communities that need to be addressed. We've proactively started looking at the resources that are in those 8 communities, and those resources just could be human resources, or they could be facilities. They could certainly be cash, whether it's public money or private money. But what we're trying to do is come up with and give the community, here's kind of a baseline cost that we're looking at from the standpoint of maybe improving the education in a particular community, or having people financially stable, or at least have the knowledge base. Crisis alleviation is something that's over the last 5 years been crazy. So we've raised probably in a separate campaign just for crisis about $500,000, like Debbie said, to deal with foreclosures and deal with utility bills because people got surprised by unemployment. So they're the things that we're trying to do is instead of saying, oh, this is what we're going to raise, what I'd like to be able to say long-term, working collectively with the community is, this is what we need, here's where we're at, based on the resources we've identified last year, this year, this is what we think the forecast is going forward, and here's the shortfall.
Okay, so the people want to have access to United Way money, and they want to be involved in where your attitude is toward, one of my colleagues serves on the National Institute of Health. And there are attitudes that they have that they're looking for research in a particular area. So if you know in advance that's what they're looking for, you can put in for the grants. How do your nonprofits that are part of your program know what's your interest that year? Because it does change from year to year. So it may be teen violence one year, it may be something else. No?
Our three key pillars are education, income,
I got
and
it,
health.
but within education, you're going to have a key pillar. Is it going to be reducing the educational losses that occur over the summer, or what happens when not having adequate teachers or access to computers at night? That's why they put in the 70 units over at frame, so that what they forgot to buy the paper, okay? So it's like sometimes we put the stuff in, but we don't necessarily have haven't done all the logistics. Okay, now they have the report, how do they get it home?
We rely on our partner agencies to identify those needs and the development of their program when they're applying for those funds.
Okay.
And I look at it too, I mean, we have our member agencies that have key programs that you just discussed that basically, you know, they're a building block in the community that we funded for years. And those programs, we think, are excellent programs today based on our monitoring year over year of those programs. What we've also started to work is 3 key initiatives in education, income, and health. I mean, Delaware Stars is a key initiative for us. We started it, we believe in it, we're working with the state collectively on it, and basically we're focused, at least on our member agencies, to say, look, we want every one of our member agencies to be 5-star rated.
We're going to come back to that right after this. United Way, Delaware.
I know they never make me play with these guys, but why do they make me train like them?
Training hard is important, and for professional athletes, it's their job. But kids aren't professionals and shouldn't train at that level. Keep kids safe on the playing field and out of the operating room. Become an advocate for sports safety. Visit StopSportsInjuries.org.
Hi, we're back on the closing segment of Youth in Sports, and we're talking about the United Way, and I hope everybody has tried to understand a lot of the different
They feel
fallacies.
better. They feel better about the fact that
About
there's
giving?
a whole not about the giving's going in the right direction. That was my goal for to invite the folks to be on tonight, was to have a better understanding that you can be directional, that there are some companies that match funds, and that they've done their homework to decide how your program may seem really good, but you don't know what it's being compared to. And the other program that you may have not gotten as much money from, or you may be reconsidered another year, is because they're making a bigger difference in their communities than perhaps your thoughts of making it in your community. You need pilot data. You need to go out there and show that you can make a difference, and that the United Way can help you with something that's already boots on the ground, shovels in the dirt. You can't have this theoretical stuff. This isn't a theoretical organization. Is that fair to say?
That's very fair.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe there's people out there too that need some help, and this might be a way to
Absolutely.
get it. Go
Absolutely.
on their website. What is your website, by the way?
Actually, to receive help through United Way of Delaware, we have information referral hotline. It's called Delaware 211. And with that, there's a live operator that when you dial that 211 from a 302 area code, someone will be able to address your needs and your local community and connect you with those resources.
Is that person paid or volunteer?
That person is paid.
Good. Paid people answer the phone much more quickly.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Depends who's paying them.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we were, like as the last
So
segment.
the program, we're down to the last. We want to give them a chance
That's
to
what
talk.
I'm saying.
Yep.
I want to let Jerry go ahead.
Yeah, I think just to finish up where we left off, we have 3 strategic focus areas. Delaware Stars is one, and we advocated for that.
What is that now, in case they don't know?
Delaware Stars is a just think of it as a hotel. You're going to check into a 3-star or 4-star hotel. Well, here, when you go searching for a quality child care center, if they're a part of our Stars program, they'll have a rating there. If they're not, then basically they're not participating. And then I highly suggest you go and visit.
Do your homework, right?
Yeah, do your homework. But and the rating systems aren't just given out like candy, and they are again assessed on an annualized basis, not just by United Way, but by the state of Delaware, because it's part of.
So Delaware Stars is one.
Delaware Stars is one. We already talked initially about Stand By Me, which is our income pillar from an initiative standpoint. And then the last one under health is really our YHP program, Young Health Program. And we branded it I Am 40. The reason it's branded as I Am 40 is we have 40 developmental assets where we're actively working with young youth to basically put the assets in their lives to be successful. We've actually taken some of our board members out. We've created a life-defined messaging where we actually took Tim Constantine to
the actor?
No, our previous board chair. He actually works for Highmark today, but he actually went out and did one of our life defines with a group of students at the YMCA one night. And it was kind of funny because when you look at telling your life story, there's certain things in your life that clicked with the youth that now Tim has relationships with those youth. Like he worked at McDonald's, He worked at McDonald's.
Great job.
And a lot of people that were in that room were currently working at McDonald's. So, there was a conversation right there about, what'd you do, how'd you do it, exactly.
Are the fries still as good as they were? Do they still float to the surface in 16 seconds?
Changing the recipe, yeah. But he enjoyed the experience. We've had a number of board members go through that experience. It was kind of a day of caring for us. So we're actively working our initiatives to try and get more and more people to volunteer, get involved. It's not all about money. We need money to do it, but like John says, give, advocate, and volunteer. Payday lending is is one of those things where we got advocacy around payday lending. So at least in the state of Delaware now, we have some caps around the interest rates that can be charged.
Unbelievable.
Before,
what do they charge, by the way?
I think today they can charge still 100 and some percent.
No.
But before it was over 300% on average.
Absolutely outrageous.
And as part of Stand By Me, we actually are working with one of the local banks where we actually give short-term loans to get rid of that and get some of our clients into the banking system to build up their credit. And we actually got a bank, believe it or not, to give us 9% on a short-term loan. So that program, we've done some things that are pretty creative.
Debbie, next event you have coming up? What's the events in October?
Big campaigns, and actually
no, but is there an event around a campaign? Like we had the golf outing.
We had the golf outing. The AFL-CIO Community Services had the golf outing September 6th, and that was served as the campaign kickoff for Newcastle County.
Right, so what's next? What are some other events?
Dover Downs race weekend. United Way of Delaware will be partnering with Dover Downs and doing a raffle around the Monster Mile. And hopefully we'll be able to engage donors through a raffle that typically do not participate in a workplace campaign. So I'll be out selling those raffles for $5, so please come out and see me.
Is it 50-50? 50-50 on the raffle?
No, it's a $5 raffle, and then you have an opportunity to race around the track for 10 laps.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Another event will be down in Sussex County next week on the 25th, as we'll be kicking off the United Way campaign in Sussex County. For more information, you could contact United Way or visit us on our website.
What will be the gathering to kick it off?
Actually, we're going to do something very exciting this year. Last week we did it in Kent County.
And it is?
It is agency tours. So we're going to allow the donor to come in and join us as we visit the partner agencies and see the work being done every day in the community.
And I hope you're going to take some video clippage of that and put it on your website so people that can't attend will have the opportunity to do that.
Yep. And this year in the campaign, we have Drive Way for Delaware. And any donor that gives $52 for the first time will be eligible to win a 2014 Kia Soul. And
A what?
Kia Soul.
So
Oh, that.
It's a car.
It's
the hamster's car.
A Kia Soul.
Kia.
Oh, Kia. Oh, yeah.
Kia. It's the
Wonderful.
hamster's car.
There you go.
And any loyal donor that has given to us last year with an increase of $52, so basically $1 a week, will be eligible for that drawing as well, and that'll be
So they give it
next June.
$104 is what you're saying?
If they were at $1 level, that is correct.
Okay. I'm quick on the math.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am. Okay. And John, what's your...
I just want to leave a passionate message. I love the work of what we do. Our credo is underneath everything we are and underneath everything we do, we're all people. Connected, interdependent, united. And when we reach out a hand to one, we influence the condition of all. That's what it means to live united. If we are going to see some changes in our community, we have to do it together. We have to live united. And I close with a great quote from my earthly hero, Dr. Martin Luther King. He once said this, and I share this with many audiences, and this is something that we could all reflect on, that our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. For human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step toward the goal of human prosperity, it requires suffering, sacrifice, and struggle. It's the tireless exertions and compassionate concerns of dedicated individuals like you and I. For a person hasn't started to live until he or she can rise above the narrow confines of their own individualistic concerns to the broader concern for all humanity, for we are our brother's keeper. And so that's the work of what we believe in. Anyone's problem is our own problem, and we must do all we can to make someone's dark today a brighter tomorrow.
I don't have any disagreements with that, and certainly it's an idealistic way in which to begin your life and try to conduct your life. But the reality, folks, is you got to choose your causes. You can't be everybody's brother's keeper, and there's going to be something that's a little easier for you to be passionate about than other things. Remember that not everybody shares your passion, and because they don't, doesn't make them wrong. It just makes them less passionate. So you can't, you're not allowed to be frustrated with those that may not see the message the same way you do, because you'll lose them as a means of communicating. That's something that I had to learn along the way, that I have many causes that I thought have been important to me. My number one goal is to make this the safest state in the country for athletes. I've achieved that. I think we've been recognized as leading the way on doing things with my colleagues, Kevin, Charles, and others in my medical committee, that we really do care about these things, and we're usually 2 or 3 years ahead because we're small enough and we're smart enough to be able to do the things in advance of what is mandated by the legislature. No, we did not need a concussion law. It was already in place for 3 years before we got it. But if you feel better having done that, legislators, I'm happy for it. Okay? But there are things that and I think we do need to find common ground, but the United Way gives you so many opportunities to find something you like. I mean, it's not all chicken, and it's not all steak, and it's not all vegetables. I mean, there's something out there. If you can't find one of the 46 organizations and find one of the 100 programs that they like and support those, and they would like you to give your money without it being designated, they will never get $1 from me undesignated. That's just not how I work, okay? So if for you out there that need to say how you want your money spent, Walter, I know you're guilty of that as well. Write it down, and it will be honored. If we don't take a single message away tonight, that is one that I want all the listening and viewing audience to hear. If you designate your dollars, it will go to that cause, providing it is a United Way sanctioned organization, correct? It has to be United Way sanctioned for it to go there. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Walter, what are your thoughts?
Many thoughts. But
Please,
I'm glad that these 3 people have come down and explained their business acumen and about giving. And I just hope that the economy improves enough so that everybody can do well and everybody can get money. I know when they're talking about getting rid of the penny, that none of the organizations that receive donations want to see the penny go. You know why? Because you'll see it at Wawa or 7-Eleven where they'll have the thing and
Give one, take one, I think is what.
no,
Not
the other
that one.
where you put the change in, But is there anything that we missed? We only got like a minute left.
Well, I just wanted to say, for the last 4 years, I've had the opportunity to go out to the Delaware Interscholastic Athletic Association Student Leadership Conference and speak. It's right after they do their community service project.
Which I think is a good thing.
And it's awesome. And I'll tell you, the response with these young people has been tremendous. They love playing sports. They're great academic students, but they love giving back to their community.
And
so I
that's great.
commend
They
the
understand
IAA
that
for
they're special and that the little kids look up to them.
Yes.
And I still remember as a high school athlete, the first time a little kid came up and said, "Will you sign my program?" Okay? A lot of things have happened since that time. I still get goosebumps about that. But you are leaders out there, young people. Okay? You are leaders. We've got 30 seconds, Walter.
Oh, join us next week. We're going to have...
We're going to talk about the Star Campus down at the University of Delaware, the old Chrysler plant. We're going to have Gene Deladon and his folks talking about what's going to happen there, and it's big and it's exciting, and yes, he is Elena's brother.
And join us next week, and watch us on the web at www.youthinsports.com. Good night.
What does opportunity mean to you? At Wilmington University, it means finding your relevance in the job market. That's why we offer career-oriented degree programs that meet employment needs in emerging fields. Dedicated professors bring their real-world experience into the classroom so you'll graduate with the tools you need to succeed on the job. It's your degree. Make it relevant to your career. Personalized education, affordable tuition. That's the difference at Wilmington University.
This show was sponsored by ATI, the company taking physical therapy to a higher level throughout the country. First State Orthopedics, where Youth in Sports hosts Drs. Straight and Axe are members of the team taking care of Delaware with a commitment to excellence. And President Jack Barcelona and his Wilmington University College of Technology, where each semester this student-run program is produced, directed, edited, and distributed under the guidance of the TV production faculty. Each guest receives a copy of the show, and all shows are available on the web at youthinsports.com.